where I'm masking my real hurts and my pains. Or I can call it the description of me sitting in front of an ocean that's pristine and beautiful, but below the ocean waters was darkness and depths, and I was screaming, but I was silent. But I could also say it's a place where there's pressure. And if pressure isn't dealt with properly, pressure is this place where there's an amount of energy and it's trying to get out, but it can't find its way out, and pressure begins to build. And if that pressure can't find healthy releases, there can be danger, destruction, and disasters. And for me, the mask, that pressure that can bust pipes and cause so much pain and so much difficulties and hardships, that pressure that can be attached to some of our mental and emotional health because we have these feelings and we don't know how to control them, and we hear others talking about the anxieties and the depressions and maybe even the suicidal ideologies. We have all of these pressures, and if we don't find healthy ways to release that pressure, it can really harm and hurt us. How do I know? Because I was somebody who's lived it. This was my story. You see, the truth of the matter is, though, that pressure, those things that we go through sometimes that brings the adversity, that makes us face some of our fears of maybe opening up about our feelings or our emotions, just as much as pressure can bust pipes, pressure is the very thing that creates diamonds. It's just, how do we handle the pressure behind the mask? How do we develop healthy habits to deal with the stuff below the surface? And I'm here to tell you that communication and understanding that talking about your stuff and being open and honest and transparent is one of the healthiest ways that you can deal with that pressure. For me, if I bring it back to even my story, you see, I wore the mask for so long, guys. I don't talk to any of you about these things because I've read them in books to get educated. I've walked it. I've lived it. And today now being 11 years sober from every addiction, today now being 11 years free from suicidal ideologies, the mental health stuff, 11 years free from depression that was paralyzing me and anxiety that crippled me, or even the eating disorders that I battled with, or the self-harming that I had to navigate. I'm 11 years on this side of those things. And not that those things aren't still challenges, and not that those things aren't still situations, but I've learned healthy habits that's allowed me to operate in a way that's given me such freedom and purpose. And the number one thing out of everything that I had to begin to address was the man in the mirror and having to realize that I was wearing a mask. I was being counterfeit of my own self. I was a chameleon. I was someone who didn't want to be open and honest for multiple reasons. Fear of the unknown, what will you think about me? Fear of rejection. But also having to face the fact that I had issues and challenges, and it was easier to suppress them and not deal with them than to actually begin to roll up my sleeves and process them. And I can't ever just nail down and say this was the number one reason that led to my detrimental, struggles. But the mask that I had developed, the habit that I had learned, my go-to thing of arm's distance, not letting anybody in, this was one of the pillars that held me hostage for so many years. Because I was so afraid to realize that my voice, it speaks, it screams, and it shouts. I had to stop comparing myself to everybody else. Do you know comparison? When you begin to compare yourself to others around you, it'll be one of the main ingredients that will create anxiety in your life. See, comparison will rob you of your zeal, of your joy, of your purpose sometimes, because all you're doing is always trying to compare yourself to everybody else. And what that does does is it's taking your focus and your time off you refining yourself. When I'm focused on comparing myself, does my life look like this? What are they doing? What are they doing? What are they doing? Oh my gosh, I'm not being as successful. I'm not growing as fast as they are in their space. My grades aren't up to par with what they're doing. And all that does is it gets into this headspace and it can cloud it up and it can cause a fog. And ultimately, it's just keeping you away from having that laser focus, that laser attention on your dreams, of your goals, that laser focus, that laser of attention of developing healthy habits for your success.